Good day, everyone. Okay, so for today, we'll be learning about this inverse functions. Okay, so in this lesson 8, we're going to learn what is inverse function. So let me explain. Okay, inverse function, it's a normal function, but it's going in a backward. Okay, so I'll explain further. Imagine there are two sets of number. Okay, in first set we got x, in the second set we got y. So if the x becomes y, it's normal function. Okay, it's going forward. Okay, but if the number y, or the alphabet y, becomes x, that is called as inverse function. Okay, this one is f, we use normal f. This one is inverse function, f to the power of -1. Okay, so what we can conclude is, when you do function of x, you do function for x, you will get y. Okay, and you do inverse function for y, you will get back your x. So this is a very important concept to understand, because we will use it for to solve questions later. Okay, so we got four types of relation, as I mentioned in the previous video. We got one to one, many to one to many, many to many. Okay, in this four relation, only two relation is considered as function. Okay, only two relation law, which is one to one relation, which means from one relation, from one set it goes to another, only one number in the another set. Okay, whereas another one is many to one. Okay, many to one relation. Okay, so it'd be like more than one object going to the same image. Okay, so only these two relation is known as function. And very importantly, in these two function, only one to one function has inverse function. So that's our third point. Only one to one function has inverse function. So whenever they ask you to find inverse function, so remember that function will be a one to one function. Okay, so we'll try to solve questions how they will ask. Okay, there's a example here. Fx, okay, fx is equals to 5 over 6 minus 2x. Okay, where x cannot be 3. Okay, find the inverse of 10. Okay, f inverse of 10. Okay, so how to solve this type of question? The very first step is, we have to do let y to become f -1 to the power of f -1 bracket 10. Okay, let y, we just assume. Okay, we just assume y. They're asking to find this thing, right? So we just assume that is our y. Okay, so from here we can conclude another thing. Okay, we can conclude another thing, where when you do inverse function for 10, you are getting y. Okay, when you're doing inverse function for 10, you are getting y, meaning to say that when you do function for y, you will be getting 10 again. Okay, that's the very important concept you have to understand. I'll repeat again. It's over here. Okay, so over here. Okay, so with this set, I'll show you. When you are doing function for x, you will be getting y. So fx will be y, equal to y. But when you are doing inverse function for y, you will be getting again your x. Okay, the same concept here. When you are doing your this one, the first sentence we assume f -1 10 is y. So we just put that statement, let y equal to inverse function of 10. Okay, so f inverse of your 10, you are getting y, means you do function for y, you will be getting again your 10. Okay, so what's our fy? Our fy means 5 over 6 minus 2y equals to 10. Okay, now your job is to make the y as subject lah. Okay, so 5 over 10 is 6 minus 2y. 2y is 6 minus 1 over 2, which is 6 minus 1 over 2 is 5, 1 over 2. And 2y is 5 to 10, 11, 11 over 2. Y is 11 over 2 times 1 over 2, which is going to give you 11 over 4. So y is your 11 over 4. Okay, so y is your 11 over 4, and coming back to the top here, we said y is our inverse function of 10. So we got the answer ready. If y is 11 over 4 and my y is f negative 1 10, okay, which means your inverse function for 10 is 11 over 4. Okay, this will be your final answer. Okay, let's try another question. Okay, what's our very first step? They're asking inverse. Okay, let's assume let y to become f negative 1 over 2. Okay, let. Now, you are doing inverse for negative 1 over 2 to get y, which means you do function, normal function for y, you will be getting this negative 1 over 2. Okay, negative 1 over 2. So, fy, you must get negative 1 over 2. And what's your fy? Fy is 5 over 6 minus 2y. Okay, it's your negative 1 over 2. Okay, so again we are doing this thing. 5 over negative 1 over 2 equals to 6 minus 2y. Okay, 5 over negative 1 over 2. Let me just take my calculator. 5 over negative 1 over 2 is negative 10. 6 minus 2y. So 2y is 6 plus 10, 16. Y is your 8. So if y is your 8 and you know that your y is inverse function of negative 1 over 2, so which means this, for your answer, inverse function of negative 1 over 2 is 8. Okay, this is how you'll get the answer lah. Okay, you have to follow the steps from the first let. Okay, so imagine you are having this another function. Okay, number 5. Okay, you got one function ready. Fx is 3x plus 8. So what you have to do to get your inverse, same step. Let y to be your inverse. Okay, let y to be your inverse function, which means you do inverse function for x, you will get y. So you do function for y to get your x. Okay, what's your function for y? Just substitute 3y plus 8 is x, and make your y as subject. 3y is equals to x minus 8. Y is x minus 8 over 3. Okay, and we know that our y is the inverse function. So write it here. F negative 1 x is x minus 8 over 3. It's your final answer. Okay, and moving on to the last question. Okay, we got one function gx equals to 2x over x plus 1, and where x cannot be negative 1, and find your inverse function for g inverse lah. Okay, so same step. Let y to be your g inverse 1 x. If you do inverse function for x, you will get y. So you do normal function for y, you must get your x. Okay, it's supposed to be g. Okay, gy lah. So what is your gy? 2y over y plus 1 equals to x. Okay, so you have to move 2y is equals to x y plus 1. Okay, 2y equals to xy plus x, and 2y minus xy is equals to x. Bring out your y. 2 minus x equals to x. Let me check. Y 2 minus x. Yes. So your y will be x over 2 minus x. And we know that what's our y? Our y is our the inverse function of g. Okay, so your bring it here, your g negative 1 x would be x over 2 minus x. Settle. So the very important part in inverse function is this thing. You have to understand this thing. Okay, this one. You have to understand. First, we put that sentence, and then you must know. You do normal function from here to there, and then inverse function to from there to here back. Okay. So that's all for inverse function. In our next videos, we will further discuss about function and also other chapters, and we will do more questions. Okay, so just stay tuned. Thank you so much.